Welcome to the Easton Housing Authority's meeting of the Board of Commissioners. It is being held remotely via GoToMeeting. Roll call, Tom Tebow,
Here.
Chrisanne Sheedy,
Here.
Don Burrows,
Here.
Dennis Sheedy.
Here.
Widdop is here, and let the records show that Executive Director Kathy Steiger is present, and the meeting is being recorded by Easton Community Access Television. We have no call-ins on the phone or in video. At this time. So we will get started with the agenda item number 1, which is the January 2022 warrant in the amount of $202,186.59. I would entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the January warrant in the amount of $202,186.59.
I will second that motion.
We have a motion, thank you very much, by Commissioner Dennis Sheedy and a second by Commissioner Chrisanne Sheedy to approve the January 2022 warrant in the amount of $202,186.59. Are there comments, questions from the board?
I have just one comment. Kathy, it looks like the cost of the chemicals for the septic system have gone down since a couple of years ago. Is that true?
Yes, it is. It's acclimating itself and it regulates better as the time goes on, is what I've been told. I noticed that some time back.
Excellent. All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
I have a question, and I can't recall if this came with the warrant or with the accountant's report, but the Northeastern Savings Account History, I think was with the warrant.
Yes, it's with the warrant.
Okay. Just double checking, is that a debit card or a credit card?
It's a debit card with a MasterCard logo on it. But we use it only as a debit card.
Okay, and is it, so then it's basically tied directly into our accounts?
To just that account, the debit account. I move money from the money market into that account when it's starting to run low, because that's where the Google payments come out of automatically every month. That was set up many, many years ago. So it's an automatic debit. So I always make sure that there's funds in that account. So typically I don't transfer too much money in at one time. We also use it for Amazon for purchases for maintenance, office things when we can get a better deal.
So what kind of is the balance in there on a monthly basis?
It depends on the month. Right now, the balance is about $700, I think. When I know we're making a big purchase for maintenance or whatnot, I might put more in.
All right, so it's
So there's
only
no-
tied to the checking account. It's not, well, so not
It's a
tied to the
debit.
revolving fund, I should say.
Correct. Oh, no, this is an entirely, this has two accounts, Northeastern Savings. All our other accounts are with TD Bank, the big
Okay.
accounts. This is where the laundry money gets deposited into a money market. That's the money I pull from that money market. I want to say, I don't have it right off the top of my head. That balance might be about 40,000, but this card is not tied to that.
Okay, just, I was trying to be sure, that's all, whether it was debit or credit.
Mhm.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Are there any further questions on the January 2022 warrant? Hearing none, I will move for a roll call vote to approve the January 2022 warrant in the amount of $202,186.59. Commissioner Tebow,
Yes.
Commissioner Dennis Sheedy,
Yes.
Commissioner Burrows,
Yes.
Commissioner Chrisanne Sheedy,
Yes.
And Widdop votes yes, so it is unanimous. 5 votes in favor to approve the January 2022 warrant. The next item on the agenda is the fee accountant's compilation report as of December 31st, 2021.
I'll make a motion to accept and put on file the fee accountant's compilation report for December 2021.
I'll second that motion.
Was that Don Burrows or Tom Tebow?
Tom,
Okay. Thank you. We have a motion by Commissioner Dennis Sheedy and a second by Commissioner Tom Tebow to approve and place on file, to accept and place on file the fee accountant's compilation report as of December 31st, 2021. Do we have any questions or comments on this report?
Kathy, it looks like you have a very substantial surplus in the 400 program. Are there any big bills coming up in the last quarter?
Yes, well, we have the retirement, but that will be for July 1st, but not for this calendar year. We do have the tractor on order that's under the non-routine expenses, under the equipment replacements. It's on order. It's about $18,000. We're gonna make sure that even if it's not in, that a check will be cut and held so that it gets in for this calendar year before March 31st. We ordered it back in December.
We ordered a pickup truck in June of 2022. It was received by the dealer this week, and now it's going to take about 3 weeks to put on the accessories.
Wow. Yeah, we're not, the trailer, we can't even, they won't even let us order one at this point in time. Because we ordered a trailer as well, but we can't order, they won't accept the order.
Imagine that, having money you can't spend.
Did you say they won't accept the order?
No, because they can't even place orders for these trailers.
Wow.
I've heard that. I've heard that with semi trucks too, the box trailers, the racks that go underneath, people just can't buy them.
Yeah.
That's it. That's all I had on that. Thank you.
I'm all set, thank you.
Good.
Thank you. And we'll do a roll call vote to accept and place on file the accountant's compilation report as of December 31st, 2021, which is our third quarter. Commissioner Tebow,
Yes.
Commissioner Burrows,
Yes.
Dennis Sheedy,
Yes.
Chrisanne Sheedy,
Yes,
and Widdop votes yes, so it is unanimous. 5 votes in favor to approve, to accept the fee accountant's compilation report and place it on file. Agenda item number 3 is the approval of the minutes for January 11th, 2022 meeting.
I'll
We
make
have-
a motion to approve the January 11th, 2022 minutes as written.
I'll second that.
Thank you. We have a motion by Commissioner Dennis Sheedy and a second by Commissioner Don Burrows to approve the minutes as presented and written for the January 11th, 2022 meeting. Are there any questions or comments on this?
I'm all set, thanks.
I'm good.
All set.
Thank you. So we'll do a roll call vote to approve. Commissioner Tebow,
Yes.
Commissioner Dennis Sheedy,
Yes.
Don Burrows,
Yes.
Christine Sheedy,
Yes,
and Widdop votes yes, so it is unanimous. 5 in favor of approving the minutes for the January 11, 2022 meeting. Agenda item number 4 is the approval of the certificate of substantial completion on fiche number 088069 for Chandler Way Septic System.
I will make a motion to approve the certificate of substantial completion for project number 088069, the septic system at Chandler Way.
I'll second that.
Thank you. We have a motion by Commissioner Chris Sheedy and a second by Commissioner Tom Tebow to approve the certificate of substantial completion on project 088069, which is the Chandler Way septic system repair work. Are there any questions or comments on this report? Specifically, even the, I see that it does have a punch list attached to it.
I have one question on the punch list. It says that 58 feet of fence need to be replaced. That's fairly substantial. Do you know where they are on that? Have they already done that?
That was done, yeah. The only thing that's left done on this job is reseeding from the pipe break that they had in the spring. So we're withholding $1,500 from the job on that.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Are there any other questions from the board?
All set, thanks.
Good. I'm good.
I have a question on the punch list where item number 1, it says submit all equipment manuals to the housing authority. I'm assuming that you have those and placed them on
Yes,
file?
we do. Yes.
Good, good. Okay, so we'll move to a roll call vote to approve the certificate of substantial completion on project number 088069 Chandler Way Septic System. Roll call, Tom Tebow,
Yes.
Dennis Sheedy,
Yes.
Don Burrows,
Yes.
Chris Sheedy,
Yes.
and Wood votes yes, so it is unanimous, 5 votes in favor. Agenda item number 5 is the approval for a $3,170 change order request on fiche number 088078 for 28 Barrows Street Kitchen and Bath Renovation Project.
I will make a motion to approve the change order request for project number 088078, the Barrows Kitchen and Bathroom Upgrade Project.
I'll second that.
Thank you. We have a motion by Commissioner Chris Sheedy and a second by Commissioner Don Burrows to approve the change order request on project 088078, 28 Barrows Street Kitchen and Bath Renovation Project in the amount of $3,170. Are there any questions or comments on this?
I have one question. So this was submitted by Northeast Construction, Inc. Usually there's a cover letter from our architect engineer, J.M. Booth. Did they send a cover letter with this?
They didn't, and it's funny you say that because usually you have the change order form, and I was told when I talked to Greg Caswell, who's our architect handling this, that they're not doing those change orders anymore. They've already been approved. They've looked at it. We're aware of what happened. The drain in the bathroom, when they removed the tub, they had to relocate it. That's part of the cost. The heater in the bathroom was crushed. That has to be replaced, and there was a leak in the heater in the kitchen. So
Yeah.
they all felt it was within line.
I believe, I mean, I'm not questioning the amount. I don't know anything about that. but usually that's what you're paying the architect for, and they're putting their name on that saying, hey, we've looked at it, and this, we agree that this is the, not only the work that needs to be done, but a reasonable cost for it. And if they're wrong, if, that's why they have errors and omissions insurance. Again, it seems like they're taking themselves out of the line here.
They certainly are, and that's not all they've done this week. I found out, as I discussed with Commissioner Sheedy earlier in the week with this. They're throwing a lot more on our lap. I did talk to Greg Caswell, and actually the architect on this job is very good as well. And emails going back and forth, they already approved it, but this is what was in Cap Hub that I was able to print.
Okay, so when you say they are throwing more in the lap, you're saying DHCD?
Yes,
Okay,
But it does seem like the architect should still basically put some letter together, or whether it's even it's an email saying that, you know, they agree to this change order.
I have the emails. Next time I'll include that. I didn't include the emails going back and forth because, as you know, that email chain can get rather long. But
Yeah.
in the future, I'll be sure to include that.
well, let's just put them on the hook. Let Mr. Booth know.
Mr. Smith, it's actually Rob Smith.
What do you hear?
Yeah, it is Rob Smith. He's very good. So,
Yeah, my meds, again, it just was odd not to see that.
mhm.
Because
I
we do
agree.
have professionals for that kind of review.
Right, and that's why I had questioned it myself.
Thank you.
But yeah, the change order format in Cap Hub is not the same as what it used to be.
No, and they didn't even tell us that they were changing it. I liked it before. It was easier to follow. I spent
Yeah,
20
because the
minutes trying to
standard
find the
form is no longer there.
correct.
Okay,
Does this save us any money on the architect's bills, which are always so expensive? Since now there's going to be less work for them?
No, it does not.
Hmm.
Nice thought, Pam, but I don't know where you're coming from with that.
so I believe their
Try.
contract requires them to review it. It doesn't talk about the form of their approval, so if they've reviewed it and they've provided the Easton Housing Authority through email with an approval, an opinion of their approval, that probably meets that criteria. It's just, they used to have a very, as Kathy said and Chris said, very clear form that you saw that it was reviewed, it was signed off by usually three people, the contractor, the housing authority, DHCD, no, the architect, and then DHCD. And it told you if it was the first work order, the second work order, the third change order, what percentage it was of the job, that kind of stuff.
And
It is
even with
approved
that form, you
by-
would have a cover letter from the
Right.
architect
But
to
it
go
is
with it.
approved in Cap Hub by the architect before I can do anything with it. The architect had to go in Cap Hub and approve it, so I can clearly see that in Cap Hub, it's approved by the architect.
Now, I'm gonna bring it up on a separate issue. This because as a board member, you know, when we approve budgets, we know that we've hired an accountant, a certified accountant. He's gone over the budgets. When we approve these change orders, we're saying, yes, we have hired a architect, an engineer. They've gone through it. We have confidence in what they've provided us. And now we're basically approving a proposal from a vendor that you're telling us has all the stuff behind it. And I believe you on that, but it just doesn't, seems like the form is a little bit different. If this was a multi-million-dollar job and we were 30% over, I mean,
That'd be a problem.
thank you very much again.
You're welcome.
Well, if there are no more questions or comments on this agenda item number 5, change order request for the 28 Barrow Street kitchen and bath renovation, I'll move to a roll call vote for approval of the $3,170 in the change order for project 088078. Commissioner Tebow,
Yes,
Dennis Sheedy,
Yes.
John Burrows,
Yes.
Chrisanne Sheedy,
Yes.
And Woodard votes yes, so it is unanimous, 5 votes in favor to approve the $3,170 change order request on fiche 088078 for 28 Barrow Street Kitchen and Bath Renovation Project. And agenda item number 6 is relative to a letter from Carrie Souza of the OCD division of the DHCD relative to the DHCD not approving the executive director's contract. How about if I give that to you, Kathy? You can maybe give us a little bit of, start with you.
Well, we'd submitted this contract back in, not actually April of 21, it was prior to that. But the one that they could find was April of 21. And then they recently had called me in December because they couldn't locate it again. And I sent it again, and then we finally got the refusal letter, which we had anticipated getting. The contract that was submitted to them was the contract that I used when I began here in Easton Housing Authority. It's a standing contract. It's one I've used for 25 years, and they rejected it because I'm not on their format.
So on the email, Kathy, it said the salary calculation worksheet, the board and the board vote extract. Were those submitted also, or did they lose them?
Yes, no, those were submitted.
Okay, that's, I mean, that's, okay. And they did not give you any specific concerns, just generally, we're not going to accept this.
Right, they said it didn't conform. And the email was, I sent the whole email.
It's in the letter. The second, the third paragraph in the actual letter from Carrie Souza reads,
Yeah.
while MGL's 121B, Section 7A gives DHCD the right to strike any provisions that do not conform to DHCD guidelines, this contract is non-conforming to the extent that if all non-conforming provisions were stricken, it would no longer constitute a legal contract. I'd say that's,
No, I did read that. So they didn't tell us anything specific about it, just they don't want to accept this form.
Correct.
I mean, if we were in negotiations, I might talk to you, Kathy, about something, you know, maybe you could add a sentence here or something there, but we've already done that.
Mhm.
This, I'm not a lawyer, but this is my opinion. We, as a duly elected or appointed board, negotiated with a person, Kathy Steiger, in good faith, came to agreement, took vote in public to approve this. I think it's within the authority of this board, and I don't know where to go from here. Kathy, I think, has the right to say, I negotiated with you, this is the deal I made. You know, why are we talking about it again? That's my opinion.
Yeah, none of this surprises me. I mean, this is exactly what I expected out of the department. We're still fighting the lawsuit that Mass Narrow put across against DHCD. My housing authority is like #1 named on that lawsuit. It's gone before the judge. She's taken it under advisement. She's been sitting on it again for like 3 months. So the whole thing is just continuing to spin in the wrong direction. And
But what I'm
it is what
saying,
it is. I agree with Tom. We've made a decision. We entered into a contract with Kathy. And that always used to be all well and good, but now the department thinks they have ultimatums and, you know, expectations that we must abide by.
if they came back and said to us as a body that this provision is illegal under Massachusetts law, that would be something. We would have to look at that. In most contracts, although this doesn't have it saying that if one provision is found not to be enforceable under the law, that the rest of it remains. But they haven't done that. They've just said they don't like it, and which is fine, I guess, but I don't see how we could say to our executive director, okay, forget about that. Forget about the good faith negotiations. Forget about the signatures that all 4 of us put on the contract. I did look at it. Forget about it. It means nothing. I don't know how we can do that. I think, and I don't think Kathy would, but I think she could sue us. No, I don't, but I think you could. It's a contract between, a body and an individual. If you were J.M. Booth and we did this to you, he could sue us, right? So that's my opinion. I don't know what to do other than to say we've received it, put it on file and see what happens when we file our budgets.
The most interesting thing to me about the whole process is that DHCD is not even party to the contract, and they state that. They're not party to the contract. So I don't
Oh, but they
understand.
are. Now they expect to be. They're signing on that contract, on
But they
those
say
new
they're not.
contracts.
On,
Oh, they
I
are.
looked at,
Oh, yeah.
right, but on the paperwork that, the format that they want you to use, they say on the last page that they are not party to the contract.
They think they are.
Yep, and this is the same contract they approved in the beginning, exact same thing. Nothing has changed except the salary pay scale, which is based on their calculation worksheet, which we are allowed to use.
Yeah, the salary didn't
Same
change.
contract we've used everywhere for years.
Correct, correct.
Kathy, if you remember, there was no increase allowed. So when we negotiated with you on this, you said, no, that's fine. I will accept the same amount I made the last year and the year before. I think you've been there for 3 or 4 years, whatever the number
Three,
is.
yeah.
3.
Mhm.
So that didn't change. The conditions didn't
Correct.
change. I just legally, I don't know where we could go from this. So if anybody else has an opinion of what else we could do, even if I hated your contract, I signed it. I voted for it.
It looked familiar too, didn't it?
And in my opinion, we did the right thing. We entered into a contract with our executive director, and we felt that it was necessary and it was giving us and her reassurances. And I don't see how they get to deny the validity of that contract.
Well, if Kathy said, you know what, thanks for the out, guys, see you later, because of this, I'm not honoring any part of it, I'm not giving you 30 days, I'm not giving you whatever, which could happen. Again, that's the type of things that happen when you renege on your word, when you start. Again, I'm using this as an example. I'm not judging your character at all, Kathy. I don't expect anything like that, but I just don't think there's anything we can do. Until that law, if a judge comes out and says that we do not have the authority to negotiate with our executive director without the approval of DHCD, I don't think we can do anything.
I'm just reading that last page right now. I'll read it out loud, if that's all right. Certification of review and approval. This is on the template contract from DHCD, which has a date of 2017. Massachusetts Department of Housing and Community Development hereby certifies that upon review of terms and conditions of the foregoing contract of employment between fill in the blank and Housing Authority, fill in the blank, the contract meets all the requirements set out in DHCD's guidelines for executive director contracts and is hereby approved. That's a checkbox. Or a second checkbox, substantially meets the requirements set out in DHCD's guidelines for executive director contracts and is hereby approved except for the following provisions, and there's a place to fill in provisions. Or the third checkbox is fails to meet the requirements set out in DHCD's guidelines for executive director contracts, is not approved and is being returned unsigned. I was hoping to find what you were talking about, where they're saying they're not a party to it. I read that whole 17 pages, 14 pages, whatever it is. It's very, to me, it looked like they were trying to bring it up to current legalese standards. And I think that, they're just trying to protect themselves because, it's kind kind of like when I had troubles with my computer recently, I was scolded by the Geek Squad for blocking the Microsoft updates. He says, don't you want the latest versions to keep your computer safe? Shame on you for not allowing it. So I guess that's what DHCD is doing. That, you know, times are constantly changing, legal language is changing, there's precedents set in court and so forth. And I think I'm just guessing here that that's the motivation behind DHCD.
I have a slightly different opinion on that. I believe
I'm
that
probably
they-
right there with you, Tom.
they put together a template based upon some problems they had, a one-stop fix-all provision. In my contract in Brockton, if I accepted their template, the housing authority would owe me much, much, much more money. And when I pointed that out and said, I don't think it was fair to the housing authority, they still said they would not approve it. It's not, they are not looking at individuals. We are, and again, under the law, you might be right. There might be some good provisions in there that, you know, help us out. We have done fine under this, and there is termination clause. That's one of the biggest things. They said some contracts didn't have a termination clause. Employees have rights, so it just says that we have to do it for reasons, not just because we feel like it. But again, they probably are updating language, but still, I'll go back to my original, simpler, just the foundational stuff. I don't know what we can do. Even if we agreed 100%, but DHCD's template was perfect. We have negotiated a contract, voted it in public, signed it, Kathy signed it, and to just ignore that, I don't know what you do.
It's not their template, and that's what all that matters to them is that I haven't had a contract since 2017, and I don't care. I'm not signing what they have put out there and then what they are mandating, and the language that is in there is detrimental to an executive director. It tells us we are responsible for anything that happens on those projects, on those properties that has not been properly maintained, even if you didn't have the proper finances to take care of it. Wrong, wrong, wrong. No.
Yeah. Now you're getting into the lawsuit.
Oh, yeah.
I agree with you on that. And I do think you have a contract. I don't know, Commissioner Sheedy, but you probably have a contract that hasn't been approved by DHCD, but was entered into with your board.
Oh, way back when. Then they were just renewing it year by year, and then we just finally started giving up on that too. So I just get cited on my agreed upon procedures audit every year that I have no contract. And do I care? No.
But again, we do have a contract here in this situation. I'd make a motion to accept and put on file.
I second. Be done with it.
Okay, we have a motion by Commissioner Tom Tebow and a second by Commissioner Chrissy Sheedy to accept this email and attached letter from Carrie Souza, the Associate Director of Bureau of Housing Management at DHCD, and place it on file. Are there any further questions or comments?
As long as Kathy feels comfortable with where this is at, that's my only thing. I know Tom and I have been espousing for a few minutes here, and we're just making sure you're okay with it.
I'm fine with it. Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, well, we'll do a roll call vote to just accept and place on file the DHCD letter from Carrie Souza stating that the DHCD has not approved the contract that the Easton Housing Authority currently has with Executive Director Kathy Steiger, which was signed and approved by a board vote back, I believe, in March or April of 2021. So roll call, Commissioner Tebow,
Yes.
Commissioner Dennis Sheedy,
Yes.
Commissioner Don Burrows,
Yes.
Commissioner Chris Sheedy,
Yes.
and Commissioner Witt votes yes, so it is unanimous, a vote of 5 in favor of just placing this on file. Okay, and that brings us to agenda item number 7, which is an approval of the executive director's salary schedule for the upcoming budget of 2022. Would you like to talk to us about this, Kathy?
Yes, well, the budget's coming up. The budget meeting will be next month. And the new salary schedule came out just recently, so Dan Robillard thought we'd get a jump on it and at least put this before the board, before the budget, so that when the budget's ready to go and we vote on that next month, this is already part of that and ready to go as well.
I make a motion that we approve the executive director's salary schedule as submitted and effective with our March budget. Director Steiger will receive a salary now of $94,541.
I'll second
And I
that.
wish we could make it more.
Thank you.
I didn't hear, who was the second on that motion?
Tom Tebow.
Thank you.
I do want to, just for the public, have them understand that this is a 5% raise. Executive Director Steiger has not received a raise. This will be the 4th year. It is prescribed by the state. Therefore, if we don't allow for these cost of living really adjustments when they are made available to us, we are essentially paying our executive director less each year in real dollars.
Thank you,
And then
Tom.
see more.
Yep, absolutely.
Thank you.
Another travesty foisted on us by the department.
Do you have any other comments, Don, Dennis?
No, I'm good. I'm good with it. I'm good.
Okay, then we will move for a roll call vote to approve the local housing authority executive director salary calculation worksheet, which was updated in January 2022 for the purposes of the budget, which is coming up in March of 2022 for the Easton Housing Authority, which will approval of this calculation worksheet will generate an increase in the executive director's salary as well. I show $5,474 a year would be the increase, which, as stated, is about 5% of what the executive director is currently making and has been making since she started, I believe, at least since for the last 4 or 5 years. We'll do a roll call vote, yes or no. Commissioner Dennis Sheedy,
Yes.
Commissioner Tom Tebow,
Yes.
Commissioner Don Burrows,
Yes.
Commissioner Chris Sheedy,
Yes.
and Witt votes yes, so it is unanimous to approve. That's 5 votes in favor to approve the executive director salary schedule for the upcoming budget in March of 2023, which will reflect an increase in wages. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, the next item on the agenda is the executive director's report for February. I'll give the floor to Executive Director Steiger.
Thank you. The vacancies are still quite a thorn on our side. We've had quite a few pulled lists with no responses. Dawn's working on 5 more units on a pulled list. We've leased a unit. One unit was leased on December 29th. I'm sorry, January 26th. It was ready on the 29th. So she is working pretty hard on these.
Can I ask you, Kathy, so let's say 136 Parker, it says
Yes.
list pulled. Has only one list been pulled for that?
No, there's been 2 lists on that one.
Okay, because I mean, it was, one list should have been pulled somewhere around September 1st, and then, I mean, after a couple weeks or 3 weeks, I realized that,
She doesn't have the ability to pull the list that rapidly, unfortunately, because there were so many other vacant units prior to that at that time. So we're always trying to play catch up with that. The last list pull she had was, I believe, 50 people, and we didn't even get one response. You
No, I
can't
realize.
pull another list until you're able to close that list out for that unit.
right, and
So
that's
it's-
about 14 days, right?
No,
What is it?
longer than that. Off the top of my head, you send out the letters, you have to give them 20 days. Is it 10 days to get your paperwork in, and then 20 days? After that, you have to send them the notice saying that we didn't hear from you, you're being removed. So when all's said and done and you've gotten through all the paperwork, it's at least a month, at least.
Yeah, my comment on that was, and I know I said it before, that you need part-time clerical help in there to manage all the paperwork until you can get this down. It just, I understand you're pulling lists instead of 30 to 50 applicants. That's a job in itself, just putting the package together, putting them in the mail, receiving the mail every day. And I don't think one person can do it. I think you're gonna be spinning your wheels for a while.
We do have the part-time person doing all the mailing. It's the matching it up and updating it in the system that Dawn does. And again, you know, Champ is pretty difficult to maneuver.
Yeah.
And it would take her too much time to even train somebody, and then you have we do have a part-time girl. She's here Monday through Wednesdays, and she handles all the mailing. So both that and for the Section 8 wait list. She sends out the recertification packets, things of that nature.
Okay.
We've had the inmate work crews here. They've been working, cleaning hallways, painting vacancies, so that's been helpful. Board of Health is coming out tomorrow to hand out COVID tests to all the residents. So we sent out a robocall, and they're gonna go door to door and hand them out. And we're going to start locking the community rooms. We had an incident a couple of weeks back with somebody in the community rooms that was taken out of here. They shouldn't have been in there in the first place. Subsequently, we determined who that person was, and it was far less sinister than what everybody had thought when it all occurred. So in light of that, we're going to give residents a key to the community rooms so that the rooms will be locked when we're not here. The only way to get in is if you have a key. In our letter, we've asked people that if you have a homemaker who's here after hours, and that's not too typical that the homemakers are here after hours, to give the homemaker a key to get in, but please be sure to get that key back. And we'll start there and see how that goes. I know in the past, the rooms were locked, then they were unlocked, and there was some go back and forth about what to do with that. But for the safety, I think it's a better idea to have these rooms locked at night. You know, just with things going on in society today. So that's gonna start this week. We managed to get the doors adjusted so that when a tenant uses a key, the door will still remain locked behind them. So with the automatic doors, that took a little bit of time to do, because I would have liked to have got the keys out sooner and locked the rooms sooner than this. But that will take place this week. And the ASAPs were also here, and they were concerned about what happened as well. So I've talked to them about that. And then we have the construction at Elise Community Room. Bids came in today, and we did get some good bids. I know we can't vote on this, but I know we also want to get this moving along. so I wasn't able to put this on the agenda. I didn't know if the board wants to wait until next month's meeting, or if we want to set up a special meeting to approve the low bidder for the community rooms. So I'll leave that up to the board and how they'd like to proceed.
I have no problem if you want to do a special meeting, a single item special meeting.
Okay, is there a time of day that's good for everybody? Do you still want to do it at 5?
I'm open, and I do agree with Tom. I think we should have a special meeting, even if it's just a one-item agenda.
Yes,
Public meeting, post it, the whole thing, I
Mhm.
guess.
yes.
I would go either first thing or last thing, Kathy, so, either one will work for me.
I can do that as well.
Yeah, 8 o'clock in the morning is the latest I could do it in the morning. And 5 o'clock is fine.
Whatever works. I can do 8 o'clock. It would take 5 minutes probably. We've actually worked with this contractor before and we're very happy with them. So that worked out well. If we
Did
want to
it
do
come
an
in
8
as
o'clock meeting,
expected?
yeah,
Maybe it's just as easy to do the 5 o'clock thing, Kathy.
okay. All righty. 5 o'clock it is. Is there a day of the week that's better for anybody, or do you want to do it next Tuesday?
It's fine with me.
Fine, yeah.
Fine.
That's good.
Okay,
All right, I'll post that tomorrow. Also, Senator Timmelty called me up the other day and let me know that he earmarked $22,000 for the Housing Authority. So I filled out the paperwork for that, and we'll have to figure out, I'm sure we'll find a way to use that.
What paperwork did you fill out, Kathy?
The Commonwealth of Mass just sends you a little thing saying that you're going to be in receipt of it, and you just sign it. It takes maybe a couple of minutes, and you send it back to them. We
Okay.
did that with Claire Cronin as well when she earmarked that funding for the community room. Now, when we see that money is a different story. It took a while to get it when Claire did it as well. And again, that storm we had a week ago Saturday was tremendous. And I think the maintenance guys did an outstanding job, as they did with the ice storm last weekend as well. They're a good group of guys. We're very lucky.
Excellent.
Question on the Elise Circle work. So we're fine in terms of, enough funds to cover this.
Yes, because we're going to be able to use some of the abatement money and ADA money and drawing a blank now. Thank you.
Sustainability.
Funds, yes.
And
Yep.
do you have any bright ideas what you're doing with the 22,000 from opera
I
money?
don't, no, not at this time.
Okay.
We'll brainstorm. I'm sure we'll have ideas.
I almost pressed the wrong button here. I want to just bring up the fact that back on January 3rd, and I'm sorry, it has taken me 2 months to get to this. We received a letter from the DHCD appointing Commissioner Tom Tebow as the state appointee for another term of, I think it's 3 years. And I want to congratulate Tom and thank him very much for all that he contributes to our board. He's a huge asset to this board. And I'm so grateful that they appointed him again.
Thank you, Commissioner.
I agree.
Congratulations.
Yes,
Time will tell.
The next agenda item is questions, comments, or concerns from any of the board or residents, which we have no residents present that I can see.
Kathy, if I could ask on securing the community rooms, are we talking about both locations or are we just talking
Yes.
about Parker Terrace?
No, both locations.
Locations? And so the both units going to be secured with the same key? I mean.
Yes. It's a master key to the laundry room.
The residents in Elise Circle and Parker Terrace will share the same key.
Yes,
Thank you.
you're welcome.
Any further questions or comments? We'll, I'm
Kathy,
sorry.
Back to those keys for a minute, you might want to at some point in the future consider getting a fob system that it's easier to monitor who's going in, who's going out, and maybe some surveillance cameras too to help you with that.
That might be a good idea for the $22,000.
Yep.
There you go.
Thank you.
I don't know if you can do all that for 22,000, but it's a start.
Yeah.
Just that keys get lost and they get to be a problem, so.
I'll be honest, I don't think, after hours, I don't think these community rooms have an awful lot of activity to begin. It's so minimal. I would imagine a lot of residents will never even use it.
Yeah. Particularly this time of year.
Yeah, yes.
Okay, I'd like to schedule the next meeting, with the exception of the special meeting that we're going to have next Tuesday at 5 p.m. To address the Elise Circle Community Center renovations contract approval. Our next regularly scheduled meeting of the Board of Commissioners, I have a date of March 8th. Does that work for everyone?
Works for me, I'm fine.
Yes.
We can talk contract, salary, and champs.
That'll be a budget meeting.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so we will, that has been approved, giving no objections. The next meeting will be March 8th, Tuesday at 5 p.m. And I will now entertain, it's 5:55 p.m., 5:56 p.m. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn unless there's anything else.
So
moved.
moved.
Okay, I have a motion by Commissioner Dennis Sheedy and a second by Commissioner Chrissy Ann Sheedy to adjourn. Roll call, yea or nay in favor. John Burrows,
Yes.
Commissioner Tebow,
Yes.
Dennis Sheedy,
Yes.
Chrissy Ann Sheedy,
Yes.
and Widdop votes yes, so it is unanimous. We are adjourning the meeting of the Easton Housing Authority Board of Commissioners. Thank you,
All right.
everyone, and
Thank
good
you,
night.
everyone. Thank
Excellent.
you.
Thank
Tomorrow.
you.
Have a good night.
Thank you.